Right, we begin with news developing right here in the capital of Nairobi, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has defended itself from accusations that it hurried initial investigations into the National Youth Service scandal. This, among other issues, during a press conference addressed by EACC Chairman Philip Kinusu. Well, we'll have what they had to say earlier on, but we want to now speak to our reporter Sam Ogina, who attended that particular press conference and has been following this issue since, of course, it started. And Sam, thank you very much for joining us. Maybe you can just tell us, what exactly are they saying about these scandals, the NYS scandal, the Chicken Gate scandal? What exactly are they saying in regards to the gaps that we're seeing now?
Well, Betty, what the EACC, that is the new chairman, Philip Kinusu, was saying is that the investigation that they conducted and cleared the former Embattled Cabinet Secretary for Devolution and Waiguru was actually on 4 issues regarding management of the NYS, regarding the procurement issues, and also just servicing of individual vehicles using the organization's funds or money. But what came out clearly was that they did not investigate the 791 million shilling scandal. That's why they're saying that actually it was being done by a different organization, a different investigative body, and that is the Division of Criminal Investigation, that is the DCI. And so essentially the EACC absolving itself from blame on the clearance of Waiguru on the 791 million shilling scandal, saying that back then the channels of communication between EACC and the DCI were not that clear, but they were quick to say that right now, after the formation of the multi-agency team that is being that was actually mandated or actually sanctioned by the president himself as settled. After that formation of the multi-agency team, the communication channels between different investigative bodies, be it the DCI, EACC, KRA, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, now the channels are a little bit clear and they are sharing information, sharing investigative reports. And so, as much as he says back then, it was not clear, evidence was not being shared. There was somewhat opaqueness between different organizations in whatever they were doing, notwithstanding that it was for the same purpose. But right now, he says channels are a little bit clearer.
Right, Sam. And even as you explained that, this case, and especially the NYS scandal that is now back, and of course, very many Kenyans are, looking at the developments on this particular one. How are they going to regain public confidence, especially after what is happening right now with the, creeping up of other information that, we do not know in regards to the NYS scandal? How are they going to, moving forward, how are they going to regain public confidence?
Well, you should remember this was actually the first press conference by the chairman after they were sworn into office sometime in January. And today he was just laying out the strategies that the new team is going to implement in terms of fighting graft. And he acknowledged that for sure the EACC is not sitting pretty, is not a good position, but he said that he called it actually a refreshed overview of fighting graft, a strategy that they are going to use, and it involves equally just civic education to the public on graft, as it were. And also saying that they're going to be doing mapping of institutions, corruption mapping in institutions, be it public or be it private institutions, and essentially saying that whichever institution that will be ranked highly in terms of graft, then there is going to be a list of shame for that matter.
Right, Sam. And even as we wind up, I also understand that they spoke in regards to investigations, that they're looking into measures that will improve the kind of way that they conduct investigations. Maybe you can talk to us about that.
Well, they've said that there's a team that they've set up a committee that is going to look into investigations, and also just trying to have a manpower in also helping investigation of cases, and just collaborating with other institutions and sharing information with other institutions in terms of just exchanging notes and sharing of evidence in corruption cases, and just going down into even the counties as well.
So thank you very much, Sam Ogena. They're speaking to us from Integrity Center by way of phone. He has been, of course, been following up the developments taking place there. And like I mentioned, the EACC has come out to defend itself from accusations that it hurried initial investigations into the National Youth Service scandal. Well, Philip Kinuzu, who is the EACC chairman, addressed these and so many other issues. Let's listen to what he had to say earlier on.
We have had over the last month and a half, an inundation of information within the press around a couple of cases. I'm going to preempt that because I know one of your questions is going to be that. The NYS case is one in point, where a number of observations have been made about the EEC. One of which was this. I like actually leveling out of these issues. How come the EACC issued a clearance to one of the individuals in the frame, and that same individual, less than a fortnight later, the same EACC says it's opening a fresh set of investigations on. Obviously, having been informed by the allegations in the now infamous Kabura affidavit. So that's one of the questions you've had. And so you extend that, and the implications of that as to say EACC perhaps wasn't competent in its investigations. You do something, you don't do it properly, you kind of miss important information, something else comes, you kind of reopen. So giving an impression of an institution that, to use the words of some of the people in the press, that flip-flops, an institution that isn't sure about its work. Now, I want to address that issue the following way, as naturally as you might expect. During the month we've been here, that's when the issue kind of took on this huge life it has acquired. We have applied ourselves to that scenario in order to understand what exactly happened, in order to understand what it means for this institution, both in terms of its image internally and in the eyes of the public. What happened in this case is there were 4 cases referred to here out of the NYS dealing with the management of that institution. Those cases were investigated, applying methodology that we were using up until then, and it was found that these were management issues, and much as they led to the prosecution of a number of individuals, those issues are now in court, they did not implicate the individual who was later to be cleared. The clearance that was issued from here was in response to a specific request about those 4 cases dealing with the management of NYS. If I can mention some of the things, it was around consulting contracts, it was around aspects of procurement, each of which was looked at in detail by the investigators, looked at in terms of how responsibility ought to be assigned, and the conclusion at the time was that in the case of these 4 instances, that individual is not culpable, and therefore, in the innocence of whoever was signing the letter, he signed the letter as a matter of routine in response to a request from another government office. Then comes the 791 million, which is in the public discourse, and which is kind of, it has a huge life right now. That 791 was at the same time being investigated by a different government institution, not the EACC. The channels of communication between EACC and that other government institution were not as open as they have become under the multi-agency forum which has been created. And therefore, whilst on the one hand, one agency is working on an issue that is loaded, it's heavy, it's got a lot of detail in it, on another, because of EACC, we were working on a different set of cases, which, as I said, gave a different indication about the culpability of somebody who was apparently, who was in fact involved as in in the leadership on the two sides. You might rightly ask, why did the investigation of the 4 also expand to ask about the 791? Well, that is a lesson to be learned in terms of the functioning of the multi-agency involvement in the fight against corruption. That action has been implemented by way of...
Right, to another developing story, and this one is coming off from the National Park, and the Kenya Wildlife Service is appealing for help in tracking down 6 lions that strayed from the Nairobi National Park. Well, the KWS says its search is focused on areas around Langata and along the southern bypass. Members of the public have been advised to call 0800 221 566 if they spot the lions. The number again is 0800 221 566 in case you spot the lions. That's the number to call. Also, an update that is coming to our newsroom is that one of the lions could have been sighted in Kibera. We cannot confirm that, but that is just information that is coming to our newsroom, that one of the lions might have been spotted in Kibera. Those are the pictures there from earlier on when the KWS officers were hunting down those 6 lions. It's not yet clear how the lions escaped, or rather strayed, from the national park. But of course, we will be trying to get more details on that. But the number to call, of course, is 0800 221 566 in case you have any information regarding those lions that strayed out of the national park. Remember, that is a toll-free line, so of course making it very, very easy for you to communicate with the KWS officers in case you spot the lions. Of course, it's a serious issue, and of course, if you have any information regarding that, it will be good to know from you. Now, moving on. Thousands are at this moment attending a political rally where KANU is expected to unveil its candidate for Kericho senatorial by-election. Well, the event is at Kapkatet Stadium, and our reporter Muremi Mwangi has the details.
Constituency in Bureti constituency, Kericho County. A major rally happening here. The KANU party popularizing their candidate Paul Sang, who is going up against Aaron Cheriot of the Jubilee Alliance Party. Now, Aaron is 29 years old. This is his first stint at national politics. But for Paul Sang, he has been a 2-time MP and 1-time health minister. And of course, the KANU party is banking on Paul's many years of experience in the field.
Kuja hapa kwa sababu ya kuchagua huyu mheshimiwa Paul Sang, kwa sababu yeye ni mtu ambaye ni mpole na tena anasikia maneno ya wasee.
This is a protest fought through this Senate seat, not because we are against very many things, but because we wanted the government to know that we are not happy.
This meeting here comes barely a day after that strategy setting meeting that was chaired by Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, where he categorically stated that the supporters, the rebels from the Jubilee coalition who have expressed interest in the support of Mr. Paul Sang are doing so to pass a message across that the Jubilee coalition has neglected the South Rift in matters of development. But
happy that wananchi were able to tell him very clearly that his MPs are lost. His MPs are not in touch completely. And we've been telling them that for the last 3 years.
For the Jubilee coalition, their message has been that this is their best stint at clinching this seat, given that they've taken a 29-year-old man. Of course, they are saying that it's the time for the youth to lead, and they are banking on the support that Aaron Cheriot is going to be getting from the young people.
Ushindi wa Cheriot si kwamba ni ushindi wa Kericho peke yake, pale ni ushindi mpaka kule juu. Kwa bunge tunataka vijana sasa waongoze. Wazee wametuongoza kwa miaka mingi na hatujaona mafanikio, lakini kwa sasa tunataka tuwaachie vijana waongoze.
We will be following up the developments here, including a major rally that is to be held tomorrow by the Jubilee coalition right here in Kericho, and we will give you the details as they continue to unfold in what is turning out to be a 2-horse race between the Independence Party KANU and the Jubilee coalition. My name is Muremi.